Welcome back, everyone. Well, it has been 6 years since we've started working on this layout. What an incredible journey. Just documenting the whole thing on YouTube, talking with all of you. There's just been so many great memories and friends made in the last 6 years. Just incredible. I can't even put it into words. Now, I hope to finish this in another 4 years, but that's a lot to take on. It really is. But I'm going to shoot for that deadline. It may take a little bit longer, but we'll certainly try to get it done in another 4 years. So that's 10 years total to build this entire layout. And if I remember correctly, the room is, let's see, I think it's 13 feet by 15 feet. So we are certainly packing a lot into this space. 13 by 15 is really probably a pretty standard bedroom. This actually had a closet in the corner, and I just simply put in a piece of white styrofoam and painted clouds on it to blend it into the wall. So this is pretty much a standard bedroom size. Now in the last video, we started working in this area right here. And I have since added this layer up here and more background structures. Now, the structures down here, there's a lot of end scale. So notice how big the buildings are at that end. They are big, full HO scale buildings. And then the whole skyline goes down at an angle and the buildings get smaller, and eventually we get into end scale buildings. And then we'll have to transition where the whole thing goes uphill. There's more end scale, but then on this hill back here, there'll be a lot of HO scale buildings. I can give you a closer look at this. Now keep in mind, all of these buildings get windows and signs and completely weathered, much like we did on this one here and this one back here. Now, this building is actually going to get cut in half and pushed back. It sticks out too far. But we have, these are actually end scale buildings. End scale, end scale. This one here is end scale, along with these two. And notice, there's going to be a lot of smaller buildings in front. And there'll be little rooftops so that billboards and water towers and lots of rooftop details can be added. More down here. And these might not stay. There might actually be like fully detailed HO scale buildings. But this gives you an idea of the overall look. And I plan to do more billboards and signs where you only see half of it. So let's say right here. Let's say there's a big Coca-Cola billboard on the front of this gray building, but you only see the top half of it. So it gives the illusion that there's a street behind these buildings, and from this angle you're only seeing half of that Coca-Cola sign. But if you were standing on the street behind these buildings, you would see the full billboard. Now the edge of this pink styrofoam gets covered, and it's going to look a lot like this right here. And I'll show you what we're actually going to use. So it's in here. I'm not going to take it out of the box, but those are all laser cut, and it gets a backing put on it. And so that'll cover the edge of all that pink styrofoam. And then we'll also put thinner ones along the edge right here. This entire corner back here goes uphill, and it'll actually go higher than that building. That's an N scale building up there, and it'll probably end up sitting up that high. So this whole hill here, a lot of forced perspective. The roads will get thinner and thinner as it goes uphill, because I want to pack a lot of kits on that hillside. Now it's really going to end up being sort of a rectangle back there, and that piece will actually lift out of there so that I can take it over to the workbench and work on it, and then just place it back after I'm done. But there is a piece of track that goes along here, and then on land here, it'll go behind this building here, and you can see it comes out right there. There's a bridge back there. So it keeps going. All the way over there. Here's a bird's eye view for those of you who haven't seen this. You know, sometimes I look at this and just can't believe that I've done all this in 6 years. That's a lot of work, a lot of hours. You may recognize this building up here. It was over on the other side of the layout. Let me show you. So it sat right there on that blue piece of foam. And this entire, there's going to be a road that slants, that goes uphill slowly right there. So none of these buildings can be too long, because it's going to have to all gradually step down like that, all the way up that hill. And we need a couple more buildings up here. And so this here was the very first section that I started working on 6 years ago. So here's a view you don't get to see too often. So you can see my workshop is back here. So someday I would like to put an O-scale layout down here. So move all these bar stools out of there, and it would probably be up about that height off the floor. And all you would see is this section right here. And then it would go under the layout, circle inside this big closet in here, come back through. It would probably have to turn, go under here. Now I could open this and you could see it under here, but then the whole thing, there would be a big loop underneath, and it would, so it'd just be a giant dog bone, and you would definitely see it here and possibly on this side. And who knows if it'll ever happen, but it's fun to dream about it. I think if I did that, I would have to put big plexiglass sheets that maybe slide, where you could open it and get in there, but otherwise you could leave it closed, so that there's not, because there would be a lot of dirt and dust down there, and I just want to protect it. So I think I've been on YouTube for 7 years now, possibly 8. It's all a blur. But anyways, in that time, I've started this layout. I've started a large sci-fi layout in the other room, which is 1/18 scale. I've started a N scale layout. In the last 3 years, I've started a kit company producing kits. So in the last 8 years, and before that, I was on Facebook. So I have dedicated my life to sharing this great hobby and everything that I've learned with all of you. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for following me on this journey. It has just been incredible. So thank you all so much. This isn't going to be a long video, so we're probably just going to wrap things up. But I just wanted to show you where I'm at so far on this layout. And like I said, it'd be fun to wrap it up in another 4 years. We'll see. It may take longer, but I'm going to shoot for 4. And then, you know, when the layout's done, I really want to focus on painting and weathering rolling stock, get into painting and weathering engines, and then of course adding more detail like vehicles and people. All right, well, hey, a huge, huge thank you to all of my Patreon members. You guys are the best. And some of these people have been here since the beginning. Just incredible. I appreciate them so much. All right, well, thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate it. And until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone.